Okay, so really just giving a breakdown of my full day of eating. First thing in the morning, this is essentially what I've done for the last 3 months, every single breakfast. Just trying to get a real good foundation of all my nutrients required to give me energy for the rest of the day. Get a good balance of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So I start off, take some frozen blueberries, put roughly 150 grams of frozen blueberries in there, frozen raspberries, about the same, and then I take the pineapple, which is a very good natural anti-inflammatory. So that's the fruits. I take some hot water and I just pack that down a little bit. You don't need to worry about it being hot water because the fruits are still going to be cold. Once it's all blended in, it'll still be a cold shake. Then I take healthy fats, so I've got extra virgin organic coconut oil. It's all melted down, so I can just pour some of this in. So now we've got our healthy fats, we've got our medium chain triglycerides. Now I will take the superfood powders. This one here is maca, and I typically just use a teaspoon amount. So I'll just a teaspoon of that in. Turmeric, and again about a teaspoon. Put that in. We've got chlorella powder, about a teaspoon. And we've got spirulina powder. For this one, I don't put a teaspoon in, I put a bit less. If I put too much in, it changes the colour of the shake, and I don't really like the look of it. So I like to somewhat like the colour of the shake. It makes it more appealing for me to drink it. Now I've got cordyceps mushrooms, so I'll put a teaspoon of this in. Wheatgrass, packed full of fibre. Get a good teaspoon of that. Cranberry powder, so I put a nice teaspoon of that in. And then we have spinach powder. There we go. So that's all the superfood powders now added. There's 8 that I choose. You can choose whichever ones you like, but it really just gives a far more balanced amount of nutrition that's going in as my foundational layer for the day. Right, on top of that, I will add a little scoop of creatine. I will take glutamine and do the same. And now I'm going to add some seeds, so real balance of healthy fats and proteins. Okay, we've got linseed, so I'm going to go for some golden linseed. Put a little splash of that in. Brown linseed. Again, not too many. Probably a tablespoon amount would be sufficient for each of these. Chia seeds. These are the best natural source of calcium. Very calcium rich. So good for your bones. And then finally some pumpkin seeds. Again, you can use whatever seeds you would like, but I would say get the chia seeds in there just from that calcium density point of view, just to make sure you've got that ticked off the list in the day. You've got your decent amount of calcium from the best food source possible for that. I also add a handful of goji berries, and this is a great source of vitamin C. And last but not least, I'm adding a scoop of whey protein. If you want to keep this vegan, just use some vegan protein powder. I'm going to add a scoop of whey protein powder. This is mango flavour. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a bit more water, take it right up to the top. Now that's ready to be blended. Perfect. Now that is my breakfast shake that I have every day. So I would have this whether I'm looking to gain weight I would even have this if I was looking to lose weight. I just wouldn't be having as many meals throughout the day, or certainly I'd be having a lot smaller portions with each of the meals if I was looking to lose weight. But this is fantastic just to get your energy levels up and keep them up, certainly all the way throughout the morning, and that should satiate you for a good 3 to 4 hours. I do like that as the way to start the day. So that's how I'm starting the day every day at the moment, and have been for the last 3 months since beginning this new training regime. I've been doing this since the 10th of March, so just over 3 months. Today is the 20th of June. Anyway, that's how I start the day. So take from that what you will. If you're looking to change it up a bit, get rid of the cereals, get rid of the toast, get rid of processed sugars, try something like this, and I think it will do wonders. Right, I'll be back for my next inning, which will be a protein shake. See you in a bit. Okay, the other part of my morning routine is when I wake up, I have half a litre of water straight away off the bat, just to get myself hydrated and dilute those stomach acids that build up overnight. So that'll be the first thing that I do when I get up. On top of the breakfast shake that I have, I will also have a few vitamins. So what I have here, I have a green tea extract tablet. I do have a spirulina tablet as well. I know I'm adding some of that into my shake, but I had some of these tablets left, so I'm just working my way through them at the moment. I go for 2 grams of omega-3 fish oils. I have a multivitamin. I have a couple of vitamin D3 tablets. I have a garlic extract tablet. I have vitamin E tablet, and I have a vitamin B6 and B12 tablet. So those are the additional vitamins that I put in at the beginning of the day. I'll do that once I've got the breakfast shake in. I will then have the vitamins, so I'm putting them onto essentially a full stomach, and that's my daily supplementation. So don't forget to take your tablets. So I think they're quite important. The two most important of these that I would say for maintaining health longevity would be the omega-3 fish oils and the vitamin D3. Anything on top of that is just, I suppose, trying to cover various different bases. But if you have a very well balanced diet and you eat lots of vegetables and fruit, you should be getting more than enough of most of these vitamins. But with omega-3s, and obviously you can get that through fish, but I don't eat fish every single day. I just try and have fish maybe a couple of times a week. So I think that's important anyway, the omega-3 fish oils and the vitamin D3, especially for people who are in countries where you don't get a lot of sun throughout the year. Definitely very important. Make sure that you get those vitamins, and then anything else is just a bonus. Have a good day. Okay, meal 2. I know it's not really a meal, but it's the second lot of nutrition that I put into myself during the day, roughly 3 hours after the breakfast shake. Now, I have a protein shake. Now, I've been on a weight gain phase, so I like to use full fat milk. Essentially the healthiest type of milk, even though milk is not overly healthy. I do understand it's relatively inflammatory on a lot of people's systems. But if you are going to have milk, then you want to go with full fat, because you want to keep it as close to its natural source as possible. If you go in the UK, if you go for things like semi-skimmed or skimmed or fat-free, every layer you move down that scale, they're removing healthy fats from it, and they're replacing those fats with artificial sweeteners, essentially, just to balance the flavour so it doesn't taste horrible. But it's those sweeteners that we want to try and avoid. Healthy fats are still healthy, and the healthiest part of milk would be pure cream. That would really be the healthiest. But obviously you've just got to moderate the amounts because there is a lot more fat in that. But you could use cream and water it down, like a small amount of cream and water it down. I'm using full fat milk because I'm not too concerned about any weight gain or anything like that at the moment. I'm looking to get some extra calories in. I'm looking to be satiated for a little bit longer, and quite frankly I like the taste of it. But when I go on to my next phase, which will be fat burning, I will switch that out. I won't be doing full fat dairy milk. I might use some almond milk. I might just go with water. So there are plenty of options to use. For the moment, on my weight gain, full fat milk it is. So I will put a few 100 ml, not being too specific on the amount I'm putting in, but I imagine it's probably about 250 ml of milk. I'm going to take the protein powder. This is just whey protein, unflavoured. It says 23 grams per scoop. I'll put 2 scoops in there. So roughly 46 grams of protein from the powder, and from the milk there'll be an additional, let's have a look what it says, 3.5 grams of protein per 100 ml. So we've probably got another 8 or 9 grams of protein just from the milk. So I would say that's roughly 55 grams of protein right there. I also like to, again, much the same as my breakfast shake, I like to add a scoop of glutamine, so about 5 grams, and another scoop of creatine, roughly 5 grams. So that then is my daily glutamine and creatine covered. I don't add that into anything else throughout the day. I just make sure it's there earlier on in the day. So roughly I'm having about 10 grams of each per day. I put 5 grams of each into my breakfast shake, and I put 5 grams of each into my first protein shake of the day. Now, there's only a tiny little bit of this in here, but olive oil. So in order that your body processes the protein and absorbs the protein efficiently, it does it much better in the presence of healthy fats. So I always add a little bit of olive oil. It's not too much, I might as well just finish it off. If you're just using between a teaspoon and a tablespoon, it's not going to overpower the flavour or anything. You can't taste it, it should be absolutely fine, but it does help your body process the protein more efficiently. So I put that in. I will fill it with water. Again, just always trying to get water in throughout the day. I do try and get 4 litres of water a day on average. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but that is what I'm trying to stick with at the moment. And that is it. You know, got the whisk in there, shake it up, and you'll be good to go. Obviously, some people want to have a bit of flavour in there. That's a personal choice. You can buy flavoured protein powders. I just happen to go with the unflavoured protein. I've always done it. Sometimes I may add a little bit of powdered chocolate in there, just a small amount, just to add a bit more flavour in there. So another 55 grams of protein on top of the roughly 30 grams of protein I had in the breakfast shake. So we'll be on 85 grams, and both of these have now been had within 3 hours of each other. And I'll be back with my my next meal. My next meal will be, I'll be having lunch, and that will be a full meal. For now, this is the liquid portion of the diet out the way. Obviously, I will have one more protein shake later in the day. I will be back in a few hours to show you what I'm having for my first real meal of the day, something I can actually eat. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, time for meal 3. So what I'm going to be having, I've got some chicken here. They're called chicken sizzlers. These ones are mango, coconut and chili. They're basically like thin, they've cut into thin chicken breasts. So I'll have a couple of those. I'll get them cooked up nice and easy, and just pan fry them, 6 minutes each side on a medium heat, job done. I've got some broccoli, I've got some chopped up carrots, I've got some new potatoes, bit of butter and parsley on those, got a tomato that I'll slice up and have, and then I will take out 1 or 2 of these beetroots, chop them up and have them on the plate as well. And finally, this is like a bistro salad with a few leafy greens in there. I think the greens are, it says bull's blood shard, lamb's lettuce and red shard with a little bit of beetroot in there, just some beetroot, thin beetroot slices. So I'm going to get that all prepped now, and once it's all done I'll plate it up and show you the finished product. Okay, so meal 3 is prepared. Now on the plate I've got 1 vine tomato just sliced up, laid out there, chopped up a beetroot, I've got some olives with garlic and herbs on them, carrots, I've got some new potatoes here, not very many new potatoes. Typically on my weight gain phase I'd have more than that, but that was just what I had remaining from last night, so I thought I'd just finish it off. I've got a few bits of broccoli there, and then I've got a load of chicken at the back here, and I've got a separate plate for my leafy greens. Now on top of this I will season this, because your food doesn't have to be bland, and when you've got food like this, most of this doesn't have any salt in it at all, and there's minimal salt in the chicken. For every 100 grams of the chicken, I think there's less, well it's roughly about half a gram of salt, and on average we can certainly have up to 6 grams of salt a day, and if we're active and you're doing a lot of exercise, things like that, you can have more. And 6 grams is quite a lot when you're eating relatively clean like this. So what I will do, I will always put salt on. I love a bit of salt. So certainly on the tomatoes, love a bit of salt, on the broccoli, potatoes, bit on the chicken. I will put pepper on as well. And now for the salad, I will have a bit of oil. You can use any oil you want, some form of olive oil. I'm using a chili flavoured olive oil, just to give a bit more flavour to it. So I'll give it a bit of dressing there. Nice healthy fats on that. I like a bit of balsamic vinegar as well, so I'm gonna just spray a bit of that on there, and then I will put a bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Okay, and that is lunch served. Now in terms of the proportions on the plate, more than half this plate is vegetables, and I would say a quarter of the plate is the meat, and less than a quarter are the starchy carbs. Now when I'm bulking, typically I will go for more starchy carbs. I'd probably have at least a quarter of the plate starchy carbs, quarter of the plate meat, and half the plate with veg. And maybe even a little bit more than a quarter of the plate for starchy carbs, whether it's rice or this type of like new potatoes, or maybe have a jacket potato or something like that, or sweet potato. And often I will have a side salad on top. If I'm looking to lose weight, the meat stays the same, roughly the portion size stay the same, the vegetables will stay the same, the leafy greens stay the same, and the starchy carbs may just disappear altogether. So yeah, I mean, it's whether you're bulking, whether you're losing weight, fundamentally the basis of what you would eat is right here. So that's what it looks like, and that should be a fairly tasty meal. Right, so I will be back for meal number 4 in a few hours time. Let's keep this rolling. Okay, so meal 4 is going to be the same as meal 2. It's just another protein shake. The only difference with this one is I am going to add a little bit of chocolate flavouring to it, so a bit of chocolate powder. Put the milk in, full fat milk, 2 scoops of protein powder, so that's 46 grams of protein in total. I'm going to add some olive oil, just a little bit, just a splash. I'm going to add a bit of the drinking chocolate, just to add a bit of flavour in there, because I use the unflavoured protein powder. Add the whisk, top it up with water, and so there we have it. Meal 4 with the full fat milk adds up roughly about 55 grams of protein in total with the protein powder. Some healthy fats in there as well, just to help our bodies process the protein and absorb the protein a bit more efficiently. And just give it a quick little shake up. The one aspect that's not particularly healthy is the Cadbury's drinking chocolate, but it does add a nice bit of flavour, and it's not too detrimental. If you're just having it in one of the shakes and the rest of your sugars come from starchy carbs or fibrous carbohydrates, then this is a little bit of cheating, but while we're on the weight gain, I'll allow it. When I'm looking to most efficiently strip the fats off my body, that'll be one of the things that I can remove from my diet. And also, potentially, the full fat milk and replacing it with something like almond milk, or potentially even just having it with water. But I also want to strike a balance where I can still get enough energy in my system to fuel the sort of high intensity workouts that I'm going to be looking to do over the next few weeks. Right, I'll be back for meal 5 in a few hours. Alright, take care. Okay, so this is meal 5 for the day. It's going to follow a very similar pattern to meal 3, which was my lunch. So again, I'm going to be going with chicken for the meat. You can switch that out for whatever meat you would like, or whatever fish you would like. I'm going to have some broccoli. I've got a bit of coleslaw here. I've got some olives, I've got some beetroot, and I've got some more new potatoes that I've made up. Again, if you're looking to gain weight, adding potatoes in is absolutely fine. You can switch it out, you can have rice if you wanted, those types of things. So let's get it all plated up. For the chicken, I'm just going to take a couple of pieces of this. There we go. I'm going to get some bits of broccoli on here. Take one of these cocktail beetroots. Essentially they've been pickled. I quite like the taste of them. So I'll get a couple of little bits of that. Take some olives. Put a few olives on. And then lastly, for the vegetable aspect of this, I will have a bit of coleslaw. Now this, I know we can debate whether this is healthy or not. Taking it out of the pack, it's pre-made by other people, it's got God knows what in it, but I do like a bit of coleslaw here and there. It is better if you can make it up yourself, but on this occasion I've just gone for the easy option, the convenient option, and I'll add a bit of that in. At the point at which I'm looking to cut weight, I won't be having these types of things. I'll keep it more traditional, just you know, the raw veg. And finally, I will go for my portion of new potatoes. So I've got a decent amount of veg on the plate, roughly half the plate. Finally, I'm just going to have a decent portion of potatoes on there. As I say, it's all about trying to gain a bit of weight at the moment, so this is going to work towards that goal. That's probably about enough, and that right there is meal 5. So what do we have? We've got broccoli, we've got beetroot, we've got olives, we've got a couple of thin bits of chicken breast there. We've got a little bit of coleslaw, we've got a decent amount of new potatoes. I've put some butter on them, I've put a bit of parsley on them. I will season this with a bit of salt and pepper. As per usual, I always go for rock salt. On this occasion it happens to be Himalayan rock salt, but I think any rock salt would do. do like a bit of pepper. The pepper's very healthy for you as well. And there we have it, meal 5. And there it is. So we've got the broccoli, we've got the chicken, we've got a little bit of beetroot here, we've got some olives, we've got some new potatoes, and we've got a little bit of coleslaw. That's a very nice, healthy meal, and one that lends itself to adding some weight as well, especially if you're going to be eating regularly throughout the day. Having a meal like that is perfect. And so that is really my daily nutritional intake. It runs a very similar pattern to that every day. I start off with my superfood shake, breakfast shake in the morning. I have a mid-morning or late morning protein shake. Then I'll have lunch 2.5 to 3 hours later after that. And then 3 hours after that, I'll have another protein shake. And then 3 hours, 4 hours maybe after that, I'll have my final meal of the day, similar to this. So lunch and my evening dinner are very similar in how I make them up. Roughly half the plate will be vegetables. I'll have a quarter of the plate as my protein, and whatever form of protein I'm going for. You can choose anything. You can go for turkey, you can go for pork, you can go for beef, you can go for chicken. You can have a piece of fish on there. You know, you choose, and try and vary it up as much as possible, just to keep things interesting. I will have a quarter of the plate really as my starchy carbohydrates at the moment, because I'm looking to gain weight, and that has certainly helped to add a lot of weight. Just in the last 3 weeks alone, I've added 3.4 kilograms, and it was 3 weeks ago that I started to include more starchy carbs with my lunch and my dinner every single day. So that really has promoted the weight gain. And at the same time, I upped my water intake, so I'm able to sort of store a lot more of the glycogen that I get from those food sources in my muscles. So obviously, it's not all muscle weight that I'm adding on. There'll be a lot of water retention, there'll be the glycogen stores that will be getting into my muscles. All of that is going to be lending itself to adding weight to my body. And yeah, and I will have my pre-workout snack at some point in between it. Whenever I'm going to do my workout, I'll just have a banana 20 minutes roughly before I start the workout, before I start my warm-up. And if I do feel peckish at any other time in the day, then I may have another little snack in there, but it will just be something like a handful of nuts and seeds and that type of thing. So I have a whole cupboard, well, not a whole cupboard, but the whole top shelf of this is dedicated to seeds and nuts, and we've got cashews and pistachios and walnuts and hazelnuts and almonds, those types of things. So I'll just take a little handful, a couple of handfuls, put it into a little snack pot, and I can just nibble on that at any point if I want to as well. And that's, you know, there's no carbohydrates in that, it's all proteins and fats. It's not going to add fat to your body. You can utilise the healthy fats for energy, and yeah, just another very healthy snack. And this is what I'm doing basically every single day at the moment. So this helped me gain just under 10 kilos in roughly 13 weeks of monitoring it, and 3.4 kilos in the last 3 weeks since I started eating. I was always having the vegetables and the meat, but I wasn't always having starchy carbs with every single plated meal that I eat. But for 3 weeks I've been doing that every single day, and it has added a significant amount of weight onto my body in those 3 weeks. So if you're looking to gain weight and to bulk, it's definitely something that you need to incorporate into your nutritional habits. Okay, so that is my weight gain diet, and as of next week I will be on my fat burning diet. So I will do almost like a day in the life of what I'm eating in order to try and promote fat burning for the next 6 weeks to come. So have a great day, have a great week, and I'll be back with more soon.